I think we've learned a lot from the dire situation we're in. I think that we've always known that artists are financially vulnerable. And now the data has shown that there is very little or no safety nets for those in the creative fields. And we're seeing what's happening to artists now as they can no longer afford their studios or their rents or buy food. I think we've also known for a very long time that systemic racism is prevalent in this country, and it's just as prevalent in the arts sector as it is in any sector. And once again, the data is confirming that artists and arts workers of colors are greatly disproportionately affected by this pandemic as they are by any emergency in this country. And so the change is happening now. And the big thing that we need to understand is that if we don't take steps now, not after the pandemic, but right now, to address this vulnerability for artists in general and for artists and cultural workers of color, if we don't in the foundation world change our priorities, and if we don't as intermediaries that take the money that's given by the foundation world and put it out to artists, if we don't make cataclysmic or radical changes now, then the sector is going to collapse. And if it doesn't collapse and we don't make these changes, it's going to be the same old. And then eventually it will implode because it can't exist the way it is. It is just not feasible to continue going on with the way the old structures have set us up to be in the first place. Like any arts organization today, it is no surprise when I say the greatest challenge is funding. NYFA, like all the arts organizations in this city and all over the country, have been greatly challenged by the lack of resources needed to continuing to operate when there is visibly no arts sector. So that is our greatest challenge. Well, I think, Ellen, what you're talking about here is what some people are referring to nowadays as long distance art making. At least that's what it's being called at the moment. Meaning that artists have a collaborative way of working with each other virtually. But I also think what is beginning to happen beyond those virtual connections is that artists, either by themselves or in groups of 2 or 4 or 5, are beginning to work together. They're all wearing masks. They're all ensuring each other that they've been tested for COVID-19 and their partners and their communities that they're intimately engaged with have been tested, that they know those results, that they are trusting each other to take appropriate precautions against the virus to keep themselves safe, and they're beginning to work together. And so what's now happening is you're having appropriate social distance choreography occurring on certain stages, and that work will be shown to us in the near future. You're having outdoor theater productions, which are incorporating in the storyline, only because it's appropriate, mask wearing. And you're now beginning to have music halls that are operating with the doors wide open to the outside, where people are sitting every other row and 5 or 6 seats apart, and there's maybe 1 or 2 or 3 musicians up there. So the collaboration is happening, and I think that whatever comes up, the artists are the most creative individuals we know, and that we can do nothing but admire and respect their ingenuity in this process. And I'm really excited to see how this unfolds, this collaborative process. Our mission is to empower artists and arts administrators at critical times in their creative lives, and certainly any emergency is a critical time. And so in the past, when it came to 9/11, NYFA did emergency grants, and during Hurricane Sandy, NYFA did emergency grants, and with COVID-19, we're doing emergency grants. And so we feel that when there is a crisis of the proportions that either 9/11 or a hurricane or COVID-19 is having, it is incumbent upon us. We perhaps even have a moral obligation to shift everything we're doing to serve that particular crisis during that particular moment, because the need is so great and so severe. So that's what we're doing right now.